So today we are going to so we are going to discuss today the continuation of the VNets. So in the previous class we have seen some basics how to create VNet, how to create a subnet, how to create peering between two different VNets and all those stuff. So in continuation of that, so today what we are going to do, we will see the entire picture again, but we will go further. Okay. So today what I will do, I will create a Azure Virtual Network. Okay. So in this one, I will have multiple subnets. Okay. I will have multiple subnets. Okay. So I will have multiple subnets. And now what I will do is, so this is my public subnet. And this is my private subnet. Okay. So we will have two different subnets for two different use cases. So today what we are going to do is, so in the Azure region, I have a storage account. Okay. In a Azure, I have a storage account and I will try to access this storage account using two different endpoints. One is service endpoint and the other one is private endpoint. So we are going to see how exactly this will work. Okay. How exactly it will work. So now let us go back and let me go and create a resource group. Okay. So I will go from the basics. So I will go and create endpoint resource group, review and create. Okay. So I have created my resource group. And after that, I will go and create my virtual machine network. So I will say VNet1 next. So I'm not going to create anything. Click on next. So here I will keep the same, but here I will just change it. This subnet will be public subnet. Save. And I'm going to create another subnet, which is private subnet. Okay. Click on add. So whatever the requirement is there, I have created. Click on next. Review and create. Okay. So this is the creation of virtual network and the subnet. So the next step, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create two different virtual machines. So in this two subnets, what I'm going to do is, I am going to create a virtual machine. Okay. I'm going to create two VMs. Okay. So private VM, which will have only private IP address. And this will have both public IP address as well as private IP address. So you will have both the options. Okay. So now, so my VNet is created. So I will go and create my virtual machine. Okay. So click on virtual machine. So endpoint RG, I will say public VM. So everything will be default. So I'm going to create a Windows VM. Okay, so that will be easy for us to understand. So I'm going to select Windows Server 2019 and I will select two CPUs, 4 GB RAM. Okay, so I'm going to give test user and I'm going to give my password. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to allow port number 80. Click on next. So I'm going to select HDD, networking. So here I'm going to select my public subnet and I will have my public IP address. VNet1 public subnet VM. and everything will be common. Monitoring, advanced, tags, review and create. Create. Kishore and JP, let me know if you are not able to follow. Okay. So I will make somewhat slow, or I will try to explain in much more detail. Okay. So it is creating. Meanwhile, I will go back and I will create another VM. Okay. So now I will select my resource group and I will say private VM, no infrastructure, Windows Server 2019, 2 CPUs, 4 GB RAM, and I will use test user. So I'm going to select port number 80, click on next, standard STD, networking. So here I'm not going to select any public IP address. So I'm going to create this VM in my private subnet. Okay. So everything will be remain the same. So now we are not going to change anything here, anything here, anything here, and click on review and create. Validation pass, click on create. So once we have created our VMs, then what I will go and do is I will go and create the storage account. I will go and create the storage account. Okay. So let us wait for these things to complete. So my two VMs have been created. Now, as I told you, I want to go and create the next services storage account. So just leave for this one. Just see how I'm creating. But we will discuss this one in detail. Okay, we will have a dedicated session on the storage account. So here, so whenever you are creating any storage account, the name should be unique. Okay. So if I'm giving you some name, if suppose I'm giving storage account September 12, you cannot use the same name whenever you are creating, because whenever you are creating any storage account, that name should be unique. Okay. So I'm using the same region. My primary service will be, you can select anything. That is not a problem. Okay. So I'm not going to do anything here. Just, okay. Anything else I want to select here? No. Next. Next. So I'm removing this one. I don't need these things. Next. Review and create. So I'm creating the storage account. Okay. So I'm going and creating another storage account. So I will say NOV22. Okay. Okay. So it should be small NOV22. Okay. So my service is files. I'm selecting an LRS. Nothing. Nothing. Next. Next. Review and create. Create. So now the other storage account is also been created. Okay. Just refresh it. You have two different storage accounts in the same region. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to check how exactly it is working. Okay. So before I go here, settings, configuration, I'm going to enable this option. Click on save. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, if you go here, you can see data storage, different options, container, file share, queues, and tables. Okay. So if you know about AWS, if you know about AWS, S3 is something we call that one as containers or blobs in Azure. So whatever you called S3 in AWS, the same thing we work in Azure as a blob. Okay. So we call that one as a container. So here in S3, we call that one as a bucket. We will call here as a container. Okay. So whenever I called here as files, that is nothing but in AWS, we call that one as Elastic File System, EFS. Okay. So these are the two different terminology. Working model is same, but only the naming convention or the terminology is different. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to the container and I'm going to create one container. Okay. So what I will say, container one. Okay. So container C. You can give container. Okay. So we don't want anything. Click on create. Okay. So I have created one folder, and in this folder, what I will do, I will upload a small file. Okay. So what I will do, I will go to picture and I will upload a file. Okay. Click on that one and upload. So I am clicking on this file and I'm clicking on this URL. If you want to access this file, you need to click on this one and you need to paste here and you need to click on here. So you can see you are able to access this picture on your storage account. Okay. So now where exactly it is working? It is working on your, from where you are accessing, from your public internet you are accessing. That means whatever the data you have stored in your storage account, it is accessible from the public internet. Okay. So now what I will do is I will go and restrict the traffic onto your storage account. Okay. Suppose if I go back and if I close this one, if I go to my storage account and the networking, Here you can see public access is enabled for all the network. If I disable here and if I click on save, if I go to container, if I click on container, what will happen? This request is not authorized to perform this operation. Okay. You are not authorized to access this. Access this file, whatever the data you have uploaded in your storage account from your public internet, you cannot access it. Okay. So now, before we go to service endpoint and private endpoint, let me go to my virtual machine. Let me take the public IP address here and let me open connect. I will give the test user. So I have logged into one of my virtual machine, which I have created in the same network, in the Azure network. Okay. So now I have logged into the virtual machine. Okay. So I will open my browser. Click on yes. Start without this one. Okay. So what I will do, I will copy the same URL and I will just try to access from this browser. See, this request is not authorized to perform this operation. Request timeout. So anything. So whatever the error it may be, you are able to see this one. Suppose what I want to do is I so what I will do is I will go to my storage account. Sorry. In which account I have created September 12th. So I will go to networking. Now what I will do, I will enable from the selected virtual network and IP addresses. Okay. My VNet 1, my public subnet enable. So what it is doing now, it is enabling the service endpoint. So whenever you select this option, what it will do, it will create one service endpoint in this subnet. Okay, in this subnet, it is going to access that one. Okay. So now what it will do, click on add. You can see it has been enabled. Now let me go and verify by refreshing. Still it is giving you the error. So what we need to do is just go back to your virtual network, VNet 1. In the settings, go to service endpoint. So service endpoint is created. Okay. So now let us go and see whether that has been allocated to your public subnet or not. Service endpoint is created, but why it is not showing? Okay. So let us copy. Let us wait for some time while it will come this one. So let me do one thing. Let me copy this one. Let me open the command prompt. So let me do the NS lookup for this one. So you are able to see it is going to public IP address. Okay. So let us wait for some time. Okay. It will take some time. Okay. Okay. Let me open one in private window. Let me paste this one. Okay. So we need to have the exact URL. Okay. Copy. It is not opening. 1 second. Let me go back to my storage account. Networking. It is still in disabled only. Okay. So I need to click on enable, select my virtual network. That is the reason. Okay. So you need to save it. Okay. So that is the reason why it is not showing us. Okay. So just click on this one. Now you can see you are able to access your network. Now here you are able to access it. But if you try to access here, you can see you are not able to visualize. And if you go back to the container, and if you go back to your public internet, you are not able to access it. So you got the difference?
Yes.
So here the point is whenever you use service endpoint, okay? So from the public internet, you cannot access that URL, whatever the data you have stored in storage account. But whenever you are using this service account, which is integrated to your virtual network, still it is accessible from your VNet, but it will be accessible over the Azure backbone network. Okay, Azure backbone network, it will work. Okay, clear? Any questions regarding to service endpoint?
I'm good.
Okay. So now let us go back, and now what we will do, we will go to the other storage account, November 22. So I will do the same thing. I'm not going to change anything. But before that, I will go to the configuration. I will enable this option and I will click on save because allow blob anonymous access is disabled. That means we cannot access it because we are not using our authentication. So we are enabling for all the users. Okay. So that is the difference what I'm doing. Now what I will do, I will go to container. I will go and create one container, container one. So I will say container level read access for containers and blocks, create. In the container one, I'm going to upload a file, the same file, or you can upload a different file. Okay. So click on upload. Okay. So now what you can do, now you can access this one and you can see you are able to view this one. So you are able to view now. So now what I will do, I will create a private endpoint for this one. Okay. So now I will create a private endpoint. Just go back to storage account, networking, private endpoint connection. Click on private endpoint. Give the name as private EP. Next resource. So I'm going to select blob, select the network. So virtual network, this time I'm going to select private IP, private subnet. So it will allocate the IP address automatically. So we are not going to create manually. See, whenever you see static, it is manual. Okay. Whenever you see dynamically allocate IP address, that means it will allocate the IP address automatically. You don't need to give the IP address every time. So I'm going to use dynamically allocate. Click on next. So we will discuss about the private DNS integration in the next step. Whenever we are discussing about the load balancer, then we will discuss on private DNS integration. Okay. Now click on next tags. Click on next review and create. So it is running the validation. So once the validation is completed, we will just click on create. So let us wait. See, now you need to understand here one thing. So whenever you are accessing this storage account from your public subnet, you are getting the public IP address. Okay. But whenever I use this private endpoint, now it will give you the private IP address. Okay. So just wait for a while. It will complete in a second or two. So now the deployment is completed. Okay. Now what I will do, I will go to my storage account. I will go to network. Now I will enable from a particular subnet. Okay. Particular subnet, virtual network, private subnet, enable. So I don't want any service endpoint. Let it be. So what I will do, what we can do, we can remove from the network. Okay. Okay, click on add. No, nothing. There will be no problem. Okay. So let me save this one. So once this is saved, so what I will do from that subnet, I will remove the service endpoint. Okay. Is it saved? Yeah, it is saved now. So I will go back to my virtual network, VNet, subnet, private subnet. So what I will do, I will just remove this one. Click on save. Okay, now if you go to private endpoint, it has been enabled. Now what I will do, if you click here, so see the request is not authorized to perform this operation as given. Now what I will do, I will take the same URL and I will try to access from here. Okay. So now what I will do, I will just take this one and I will open the command prompt. Home, ns, lookup. So now you can see you are able to access that one from your private endpoint. So before it has given you the public IP address here, but now whenever you are accessing the storage account, it is giving you the private IP address. Okay. That is the difference between private endpoint and the service endpoint. Okay. It will work the same way. Suppose if you want to access your storage account from your virtual machine, what will happen is it will go via Microsoft backbone network itself. But in service endpoint, it will use public IP address, public endpoint. But here it will use private IP address of the virtual network thing. Okay. Clear? Any questions till now? How to create the service endpoint and how to create the private endpoint? Any questions? So once you are clear, I will go to the next concept. So now we have completed this one, right? So we will go and understand the next concept, VPN, and how to create VNet to VNet VPN. Any questions in service endpoint, private endpoint, and how to create the pairing between two different VNets? So before private endpoint, any questions till now what we have discussed?
I'm good.
Kishore, any questions?
No.
Okay. So now the next concept is VPN. So coming to the VPN, I think we have already discussed about the theoretical concept, but let me uh, reiterate everything what we have discussed in our previous classes. VPN is one of the concept which is used for connecting two different data centers. Okay, connecting two different data centers, we are going to create something called as VPN. So VPN works on internet. You need to understand this differentiation. VNet works on internet. Okay. So on the basis of internet, you will go and create your VPN. So how it will create is, so now what we will do is, I have a virtual network. I have another virtual network. So here the first step is, as you know, again we need to create a VNet. Here also we need to have one VNet. You will have the subnet. Again here also you will have the subnet. And in the next one, what we will go and do is, we will create here something called as Virtual Network Gateway. We say VNG, Virtual Network Gateway. And in the same way here also, we will go and create Virtual Network Gateway. So once we have created these two different virtual network gateways, the next step is we need to create a connection between these two virtual network gateways. So what we need to do? We need to create virtual network gateways between these two. Okay. So once this has been completed, connection has been completed, then what we need to do is whatever the virtual machines are there in these two virtual machines, in this virtual network, we need to check whether from this VM, whether I am able to access the other VM using my VPN connection. Okay. By using this virtual private network, whether I'm able to ping from VM1 to VM2. Okay. So once we have done this VNet to VNet peering, so tomorrow what I will show you is we have the same concept VPN as well tomorrow, but here we will discuss site-to-site VPN and point-to-site VPN. So yesterday I told I think day before yesterday I told you, whenever you talk about site-to-site VPN, it is nothing but between two different data centers. If you want to establish a connectivity, then you will use site-to-site. But from your local machine to your any data center, if you want to have the communication between these two, then you will use point-to-site VPN. Okay? Understood?
Yes.
Okay. So now let us go and start working on VPN, VNet to VNet creation. Okay. So before that, what I will do, I will delete these two service accounts, storage accounts. Okay. Click on delete. And I will go to virtual machines and I will create one of the virtual machines. Okay. So now I already have a virtual network. Let me create another virtual network. Okay. So I will say VNet to next, next. So this time I will change the IP address. Okay. Because you cannot create overlapping IP address. Okay. So I'm going to have a single subnet itself. No, you need to have another subnet, which is private network gateway subnet. Okay. IPv4 network. So this time I want to have 64 IP address. Okay. Okay. Before that, I need to edit here. Okay. So 32, save, add a subnet, virtual network gateway. So here I will say 27, click on add. Okay. So click on next, click on next.
I have a question here.
Yeah, sure.
Why we can't create with the same subnet? Because of this, it is subscription is same.
See, it is not about the subscription. Okay. See, okay, tell me one thing. You have a Wi-Fi in your home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have a Wi-Fi, right? So what
Yeah.
you do is, for your laptop and for your mobile, can you give
Okay.
the same IP address?
Yeah.
Is
If
it
I have
possible?
a if I have a two Wi-Fi, I can give the same. Because I have a one, I can give.
See, I'm asking you the question. If you have a Wi-Fi, okay, so you are saying that if you have two different Wi-Fi networks,
Yeah,
you can
I can
give
give
the
the same.
same IP address. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Suppose in any situation, if this device want to communicate with this device, can it communicate?
Yeah, if it is connected with the router or routing table or netting.
It will not work. See, here you have 10.1.1.1. Here also you have 10.1.1. On the network, suppose if you are trying to access this IP address, how your network will identify that I want to go to this virtual machine? Why not this? How you will identify?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
See, okay, tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. If you have the name JP and you have
wait,
another somebody like this one,
wait.
yeah,
Let's say, this is your private, right? 10.1.1, right? And no, you have another Wi-Fi. It is 10.1.1, and it is supposed to be communicate through that gateway, right? The gateway here, it is our router. Our router, it is works. If it is anything, it's let you out. It is going through that public IP address. That means the internal network, it is NATing with the public network, and it is routing. Correct?
right. It will not work. It will not
Uh,
work.
uh, uh, okay, and I will give this an example. You have internet connection, and you have a router in your home, and you have Wi-Fi. In your Wi-Fi, you have a laptop, right? And I want to connect your laptop through my laptop through by some other software like Team or whatever the software. How I able to do that RDP on your Windows? Maybe you have that
See,
IP address.
you are saying that you will use something called as natting. See, you are saying that you are using something called natting. See,
Uh,
I am
uh,
not using any term like natting in my concept. Okay. So when I'm saying that you can on it in two different networks,
no,
how I can have
all I want to make sure uh, you are creating a VNet, right? The VNet is something. It is it's a virtual. It is a one entity. For example, you have a company have an ABCD, and the ABCD product one for you have in a separate entity, and product two you have in a separate entity that you want to run is a different account that is VNet two. So both have a different .com, right? If it is in a different .com, then what is the deal that internal server have the same IP addresses?
I'm drawing on diagram. Okay, just see this diagram. So this is my router. This is my router.
Yep.
This is 10.0.0.0/16 network. This is 10.0.0.0 network. Same network. Here you have some x.x.x.x IP address, x.x.x.x.x IP address. These are public IP address. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. This is also public IP address. Now, just listen entire thing, then you answer me. So I have two virtual machines, VM1, VM2. Okay. So this VM IP address is 1.1. Here I have 1.2. Okay. In the same way, here I have same IP address 1.1, 1.2, and you have a connectivity between these two routers. Okay. So now my question for you is, if I want to connect from this VM to this VM. Okay. So it is 10.0.1.2, 10.0.1.2. Here I have
Okay.
my
Okay. What
NAT.
is your public address subnets?
See, public address, you can take anything. Okay.
Okay.
Suppose in this VM, I am typing ping 10.1.1, sorry, 0.1.2, which is the IP address here. 10.0.1.1. Okay. Okay, let me write like this here. Okay, let me just remove all these things which is confusing.
Okay,
So let me
I
write
know.
down.
No, what's no? You are coming from where you are coming
So,
from.
okay.
Yeah, if you are not just thinking that 1.1 or 1.2, it won't ping. It will ping within uh, 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 router itself. If you want to connect to that second domain and the opponent 10.1.2, it won't ping. The host name is different, and the naming resolution it is come from NAT public address. Otherwise, it won't. It is
See, there
complicated,
is,
but no.
okay. So let me tell you one thing. There is no domain at all. There is no DNS concept. So here I have removed my host name. I have removed my host name. Okay.
Then then
So my
then
host
then
name
there
is,
is an yeah yeah, yeah. In this scenario, no, I accept it. In this scenario, I accept it. But no, in the real world, if I have two entity and I'm running my own entity, you are running your own entity, and at your home you have a PC, or at your entity you have servers. But definitely, no, it can have that same IP address what I have, right?
okay. So JP, tell me one common question that on the internet, if you know my public IP address, can you connect to my
Mm-hmm.
laptop?
No, you have to allow until unless you are netting your
Okay. Okay. See,
private
okay.
IP address to the public, then only.
Okay. Tell me one thing. I have allowed all my traffic. So I have allowed a default route 0.0.0.0, the entire internet range and the entire private range in my
Mm-hmm.
home router. And I have given my, so see, okay. I will go here
Okay.
and I will say, what is my IP address? Okay. Now I will give you this public IP address to you. Okay. It is detecting.
Mm-hmm.
Just give a second. So this is my public IP address. Okay. If I give this
Okay.
public IP address to you, can
Okay.
you able to log into my laptop?
No,
If
because
if
it is port is blocking, right?
I have allowed all the ports, I have allowed all the IP addresses. Can you do that one?
Oh yeah, if you allow that port through that
Tell
49
me
dot
one. See,
to
okay, tell me one
204 and
thing.
18.20 200.
What do you mean by NAT? What do you mean by a NAT concept?
It is a link creation or the port firewall creation between your uh, public and private, or I don't know how to give the definition, but I know the how it is works.
See, you know half concept and you are mixing all these things. I will explain you. If you know AWS, that's why you are getting confused here. Okay. So I will tell you the difference.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about internet gateway, it is a bidirectional traffic. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It is a bidirectional traffic. That means if this is your data center, and for this data center, whatever the VM you are creating, if for this VM, if you have a public IP address, you can connect from internet to this VM, and from this VM, you can connect to the internet. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
fine. Now,
Yeah.
whenever you take the same scenario, okay, let me remove this concept. Okay, so that will be easy for. So, in the same concept, if you take the same data center, if you have a VM in that one, and if this VM is having only private IP address, And if this private IP address want to communicate with internet, what it will do is it will use the NAT IP address in order to communicate to your internet. Okay?
Yes.
But if the traffic is coming from internet towards your NAT IP address, you cannot communicate to this private server, because this NAT IP will not know that where I need to send my traffic, because behind your NAT IP address, you have millions of servers which is converting into the NAT IP address. Okay. See, if you have a Wi-Fi, you think that whatever the public IP address you are seeing, that is only for you. No, the vendor who is giving you the Wi-Fi in your home, you will have the same IP address. Beside home will have the same IP address if he is using the same vendor. So that means whenever you are using the NAT IP address, behind to that NAT, you have millions of IP addresses. Not a single, not 100. It is millions of IP addresses. So simple logic. You go to simple logic. You know AWS. You have done your cache course. You have done your certification. You know something. So go and create a VM. Have the private IP address. Okay. On this VM, you create a security group and you open all the ports 0.0.0/0 on all traffic or TCP to all the ports. Okay. And on top of this one, you create a NAT gateway. And from your local laptop, you try to connect this NAT IP address and see whether you are able to connect to this VM or not. See, NAT IP, NAT.
Wait here.
One second.
Maybe I get a confusion. Like maybe we have to do
See, I'll
one
tell
more
you.
step. Like port forward.
See, port forward to which server you will do. If you have a one VM, you will do port forward. Okay.
Yes.
But if you have millions of IP addresses, what you will do? You can't do anything.
Million IP address, if you want to do it, manually, then it is a tedious problem. And if you want to generate, it is a problem. But if you want a particular in a million, you want 100 servers, to be connected with port forward, that we can do. Or even a million, it doesn't matter. We can create a script, we can do it. But that is not a practically, it is the best practice.
See, I'm a solution architect. Okay. So what is my suggestion to anyone is, no one will use NAT IP address to forward the traffic over that one. Okay. That is not the best practice any enterprise will take. Okay. If they want to get the traffic from any internet, see, from the internet, no one will connect to your VM, right? They will connect to your load balancer, which is having your public IP address. Okay. So no one will connect to your VMs. Okay.
Yes, I understand that.
Your people, your internal team, or within your organization, they will only connect to these VMs. But the persons who are coming from internet, they will only connect to your load balancer where your application is hosted.
Okay. And I have another question here. I agree with you. There is no deviation here. And you took same IP address, right? The ranges, subnet ranges, right? Let's say if I give a different IP address, I'm following up /16 both side, VNet 1 16 and VNet 2 also 16. But what I'm using my IP address, it's for the theoretical question, like not practically, it is not advisable as a solution architect, but no, it's a just for the theoretical. if I give 1 to 5, 1 to 10 IP address, I'm restricting with the VNet 1, and anything is 20 and above VNet 2, it'll work, right, as per the network configuration.
See, on a theoretical note, we can say that connectivity may work, okay, but as a best practice, okay, see, if you suppose, see, you are right. If you have both the sites private IP address and you are using the NATing, that may work because it is converting from this IP address to another IP address and it is reaching to your server. Okay, but whenever, see, simple concept. Okay, let me delete
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
here.
I understand. I understand. While you are explaining, I understand that why we are using
See,
different.
see,
It's not.
see, this is my VM. Okay, for this
Mhm.
VM, you have a NAT IP address. Okay, here on the destination site, whatever the IP address I have here, I have the same IP address. Okay, and here also I have the NAT. Okay,
Mhm.
so here the simple logic is whenever you want to connect from here to here, it will work. Okay, but both the sites you need to have the NAT IP addresses.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Yep.
so these two NAT is public IP address, then what this VM will do, it will convert the private IP address here
Yeah.
to this IP address and it will go and it
Yes.
will hit this server. In the
Yep.
same way, if this VM want to connect from this VM, it will convert to this NAT IP address and it will go. Okay.
Yep.
See, you are, so here the concept here is, here you are doing source NATing. Here also you are doing the source NATing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
See,
My idea is like when you have I'm running my small company. I don't want get I have only 10 application. I need to connect with outside world. I at the same time I don't want to go with 10 public IP address, buying 10 public address and DNS, those all are. I will buy one public address, and all my application I have to connect through that single public address. The traffic is not much. If the traffic goes beyond my impact my business, then I will know obviously I will find out the other solution, like go with different one more public address, or load balancing. These all are
see, on a
what I
single
mean.
IP, see, I'm telling you, on a single public IP address, you can run hundreds of applications. Okay. So there is no restriction. So the simple logic is whatever the load balancer you are creating, that is a application gateway or application load balancer, where depends upon the traffic. Suppose that is coming to x.com, what you will do, you will forward to the one VM. If that is coming y.com application, it will go to another VM. In the same way, what you can do, you can route multiple applications. You can go hundreds of applications. Okay. But the catch here is if your load balancer will go down, all your applications will go down.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever the whatever the 100 applications you are running or thousands of applications you are running behind a single load balancer which is have single public IP address, it will work. Okay. If our fate is good, it will work for years and years. If our fate is not good, on the next day, if this load balancer is not able to handle that load, what it will do? It will just make its way down. That means I'm not able to handle. Just what it will do? It will give up. Okay. So that is the reason why what all the organization will do is they will have, see, most of the applications are only internal. Okay. For a company, you can take only 2 to 3 applications which are public. All other applications are internal. So then you don't need any public IP address. You are getting my point, right?
Yeah.
See, if you are working in an organization, your company may have 1 or 2 or mostly 5 applications. For that, you don't have any problem. You don't need to go on different IP addresses. But whenever you have multiple applications which are delivering over the internet, then compulsory you need to have multiple public IP addresses to handle that traffic. Okay. See, simple logic. If I go to google.com, because I am staying in India, I have a different IP addresses. Okay. And if you are staying in US, you will have a different IP addresses. So what they are doing on the particular region, what they are doing is they are changing the IP addresses. So Google is having very big scale of market. So they are not going to use single IP addresses.
Yes, sure. No, I understand. No, you can continue our class, please. Sorry, Kishore, no, taking time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. JP, can we do it tomorrow? Because almost all we have completed 1 hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes. Okay. So let me try because let me continue. Okay. So I have created 2 virtual networks. So it will take another 15-20 minutes. Let us complete
Okay.
that one. Okay.
Okay.
So I am going to create virtual network gateway in both the networks. Okay. I will say VNet1, VPN. This is the configuration. See, whatever you are seeing here, it is nothing but different bandwidths which is supporting. Okay. So VPN gateway 1 will support around 50 Mbps to 500 Mbps, and this one will support 10 GB. Okay. So these are only the bandwidth changes. Okay. So I'm selecting my VNet cannot be associated. Okay. Because virtual network gateway is not having the subnet. Okay. What I will do, I will create a subnet. Okay. Okay. Let me go back. VNet1 is not okay. Meanwhile, let me go and create in virtual network 2. Okay. So I'm going to create VIP1 disabled review and create. Okay. Okay. So now I will go to my virtual network VNet1. I'm going to create a subnet virtual network gateway. Click on add. Okay. So now I will go back virtual network gateway. Click on create VNet2. Anything is fine. Okay. So just configure this one. I will select the virtual network 1. Here I am giving the public IP address as 2. Disable. So what do you mean by enable active mode? That means whatever the tunnels you are creating, it will work in active mode. That means both the tunnels which we are creating over the VPN, both will take your traffic. Okay. Active passive means one tunnel will take all your traffic and other will be in standby. Once the active tunnel will go down, the passive will take it up. Okay. So now at present we are not activating the other one. We are just going with a single tunnel. So configure BGP I'm not doing right now. We will see that one later. Okay. So just go through this and review and create. Click on create. Okay. So JP, whatever the scenario you are saying, you just try it. Okay. By
Okay,
creating the
sure.
VPN, both the sites you have the same IP address. Then you see whether you are able to connect it or not.
Okay.
So it will take some time, around 15 minutes it will take. Okay. Meanwhile, let me stop the recording. Okay. I'm pausing the recording. Okay. The recording. So both the deployments are completed. Now what I will do is, so now what I have done at both the sites on both the virtual networks, I have created my virtual gateways. Okay. So now the last step is to have the communication between these two. Okay. So what I need to do is you just go to any one of your virtual network, click on settings, click on connection. Okay. So click on connection, click on add, click on your resource group. Connection is VNet to VNet. So site to site and ExpressRoute is there. We will see the site to site tomorrow. Okay. So I
Mhm.
want to have a bidirectional connectivity. So my first connection name is VNet 1 to VNet 2. In the same way, my connection will be VNet 2 to VNet 1. Okay. Click on next. So you need to select the two different networks. Okay. So here authentication method shared key. So I will give one password. So it may be any password, Cisco 123. Okay. So
Mhm.
by
Mhm.
default, I am leaving everything. Okay. So I don't want to use Azure private IP addresses, enable BGP. So I don't want to use this one. Okay. So just I'm
Mhm.
creating a basic VPN. Okay. So now click on review and create. Click on create. It will take some more time, around 2 to 3 minutes, and it will complete. Okay. So now the connectivity is completed. Now you can go to VNet 1. You can go to connectivity connections, refresh it. So here it is saying as not connected. Okay. It will take a few seconds. Okay. If you do some after another in a second, in a 2 or 3 minutes, it will show you as connected. Okay. Just we
Okay.
will wait. Okay.
So today, practice, what we did, we created a VMs, right, with two CPU with the 4 GB RAM. Is it a free or it's going to be charged?
If you are using free trial account, that will be free only because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
using pay as you go model. So
Uh-huh.
for me, it
Uh-huh.
is a chargeable. Okay.
Okay.
It will take some more time. Okay, now it is one is showing as connected. The other one is showing as not connected. Okay, that will also change. Okay, so that is not the problem. So it will take some time and it will show as connected. Okay.
But till the time we can do the ping test and everything, right? Because one connection is already there.
It will not work.
Oh, okay.
Because there will be it will be going to the other one. Okay. So now let me delete this one. So I know the problem why it is not coming up. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm just deleting that. So I'm just going and I'm going with VNet 1. Okay, I'm giving some name. Okay. Next settings. VNet 2 to VNet 1. Oh, 1 second. Let it delete. That delete one.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It is deleting, right? So it is not
Okay.
taking.
So, what is your findings?
Okay, I will tell you. Okay, it has been deleted. So there is one connection which is established. Okay. See here the peer the same one, right? It should not be the same one. It should be the opposite one,
Okay.
right?
Opposite one. Yeah.
Peer should be opposite. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see here, it should be
Yeah.
VNet 2. Okay.
Okay.
But it should be now in the second one, it should be VNet 1. Okay.
1. Okay.
So what I will do, I will go to VNet 2, click on add. I will give VNet 2, click on next. Here virtual network, I will give as 1, 2. But how I can say here is VPN 2. One second. Let us try. Okay. Because I have given naming convention as wrong, so it will let us see how it will go now.
Okay.
Okay, go to the virtual machine, virtual network, connections, refresh. Still it is the same. Here it's VPN 2. If I go here it is VPN 1. Okay, now let us wait. Let us wait. See, that is fine. You understood, right? How to create the
Yeah.
VPN to VNet to VNet, that one. So that is fine.
Yeah.
So this
I
is
guess
about,
it is if something the reason we have two connections bidirectional and we have selected active and active, right?
yeah.
In an active and active, one is not connected, one is connected. Still, no, we are okay, right? We can ping
Yeah,
each
we can
other,
do. We can
communicate
do.
each other.
I'm just doing that one. Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
doing that one. Okay, I'm giving VNet 2. So I'm just going with no standard. Anything is fine because we are not going to log into that server. Networking VNet 2 default none review and create. So we are not doing, we know we are not able to log in for that one, right? We are just saying whether we have the connectivity or not. Okay. It is still showing as it is unknown. Okay. So deployment is completed. Okay. Okay. Let us go to network watcher. What is my next hop? Public VM. My destination is 192.168.1.4. Click on next hop. Okay. So you can see your traffic is going via the VPN. Okay.
Okay.
Virtual Network Gateway. Okay. So if you want to connect from this IP address to this IP address, from where your traffic is going via the VPN. So that is working
Okay.
fine. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is the test what you can do. Okay. So it will take some more time, I think. Let us wait. It is saying as unknown.
That's okay. Now we can now try
Yeah.
from VNet. First, no, I want to know test with the VNet 1 machine to the VNet 2, and
Yeah, I'm
then
doing that.
we'll try with the VNet 2.
Yeah, both the side it is working.
Yeah,
From the
just now
other
try.
subnet,
Okay. You can uh, take the command line from the command line. Just ping that IP address from one server to another server.
want me to ping. Ping will not work, I think, because ICMP is not allowed.
No, not from local. Um,
It is not from local, it is from the
uh,
server.
oh, it is from the server. Okay.
Yeah, it is working fine.
Yeah, it is working, right? It is,
Yeah,
you are
so
pinging. Yeah,
IP config, you can see this is 10.0.0.4.
10.4.
Okay. So from this
Okay.
one, you are pinging here. Okay.
Okay.
So that is working. That is working
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is
And
not the problem.
that which is in a
You can see
VNet.
both are working now.
Yeah, both are working. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So you got the point how exactly
Yeah.
you need to create